stroll, ramble. No other species does that. But we think they do. Because we do. Mind you, I must tell you something funny. I was in Masai Mara, and there was a young Masai warrior, 16 feet and growing, and he kind of had his cattle. Dad was very rich, cattle and goats, and he got his dogs there. And I went over to him and I said, "Excuse me, do you speak good English?" They start at the age of 6, and they speak very good English. Sometimes you might learn to speak as good English. But anyway, so it's true. So anyway, I asked him, I said, how often do you take your dogs for a walk? And he looked at me like I was the biggest moron. He just said, and he's looking down at me, and I said, how often do you just walk your dogs? And he's looking around the others like, should she be locked up? I'll tell you about where the walk came from in a minute. So, they've got nowhere to get their food. They've also got to know what's going to kill them. The pack's got to stay safe. And it's kind of nice to know who's in charge around here. And that's it. That is it. You see, a canine knows instinctively there must be a leader. There must be a leader. And so they look around and looking for that leader. And if they strike you off because of the way you're behaving, they're going, it's not you. And it's not you. And it ain't you. It's going to be me. And the dog can't go because it's the world it doesn't understand. But hey, I've upset somebody already, you see. So, you know, it takes on this job and it can't cope. Now you imagine taking on a job when you can't cope. How would you feel? Let's just test this out. This gentleman here, I don't know what you do for a living, sir, but if we would take you to the big hospital here, and no, I mean this is serious, this is how I want you to see what's going on for these guys, and ask you to look after everybody in the intensive care unit. You've got people wired up, they're unconscious, they've got all sorts of issues. How would you feel? Gentleman's glasses, how would you feel if you were on it? Yeah. How do you feel if somebody said to you, you could look after them on your own? How do you feel?
Probably looking around for a doctor.
You probably, yeah, but you're on your own. Now, would you do the very best you could? Yeah, of course you would. Now, do you see what I mean? Of course you would, because there are these other human beings that need you, and you do the best you could. Does everybody identify with that? What's your chances of killing them all? Not because you're stupid, not because, none of that. The will is there, but the ability is not. Yeah, because you say, you know, I mean, this gentleman could go on to learn how to do that. But the dog doesn't have that opportunity because in the pack, they actually, the leaders are responsible for everybody, and you kind of go out. So they can never learn to do that. But it's just a way of bringing it home to us to think, how would I actually feel if I did my best and it was nowhere near adequate? And that's what I realised we were giving to the dog. So I thought, how do we trade this off? I'm going to give that dog a reason to go, instead of going, you are the dog and I'm the human, so therefore you must do as I say. This is supposed to be your best friend. I'm just going to say to him, don't worry about it. Leave the worrying to me. And what I discovered was that when I started to fiddle around with ideas I got from watching these canines, it started to work. Oh boy. And over the years it's worked, so it doesn't matter what. A dog listener can be driving to a consultation, and this has happened to me so many times, I bet it's happened to my colleagues, I know it has. You're driving along, you think, what did they say the problem was? But whatever the owner said the problem was, we know the problem is the dog is doing the job of leader and can't cope. So when your dog, if you're going for a walk, remember, and I will just quickly tell you where the walk came from. Walking a dog started on leash back in 1900 and frozen to death when I was, even before I was born, in England. Because when I was a kid growing up, we'd come out of the apartment building we lived in. We call them flats. And I used to go and play with my friends on the bonsai. We thought nothing of it. I didn't even register with me what it was. It was just the bonsai. We went to the park, there was bonsai. And why was it bonsai? Because a flipping great bomber landed there and blown everything to bits. Very common in London when I was growing up. And so dogs were never on leash. They would just kind of open doors and, you know, people had front doors with a letterbox. And if you wanted to go in, you just put your fingers through the letterbox, pulled a piece of string with the key, and opened it and went in. That's what you did, because nobody had any worth stealing. Really, nothing. But the dogs were kind of left around and they mooched around. And they were getting blown up. Because they walk onto a bonsai, boom! And people are thinking, that's my dog. And some people even then love their dogs. So they started thinking we better take them for a walk on leash. And that's how it all started. And humans like to think, well, we've always done it that way. No, in my lifetime it's only started. It's crazy. We get these daft ideas. And you know who found that out? It was my son. Because we're always asked questions. It's like I was saying to my colleagues earlier on. I found out what worked, like Monty did. And I've spent the rest of my time, ever since, finding out why. And that's what I love in Yellowstone. I'll be watching something and go, that's why that works. That's why that works. But it hasn't changed what works. So Tony, because we've challenged so much over the walk, because so many people told you're a bad owner if you don't walk your dog. Especially in England. Oh, and you see people pouring rain, they're walking the dog. And the dog's going, oh my God. Why is my kid so stupid? So Tony researched and found the answer. That's what we love. We're having a blast finding out the reasons why. So I quickly learned that if I was to wanted that dog, like with Monty, to get that animal to see him as leader, he had to communicate with it in a way that it understood as well as us. And that's not so difficult. Now, another thing humans tend to do is, especially with dog training, is feel they've got to be aggressive. Has anybody else been told this? You've got to beat the dog at its own game. Yeah? Really be aggressive to that dog. Okay, we're going to have a little dry run of this, because I need a drink of water, and you're going to give me quite a time to get that when we do this. I would like everybody here, when I say go, I want you to turn to the person next to you and snarl and growl and swear and heebie-jeebies out. Right, go! But there is something you can do. If you want to show your dog your disapproval, there's something you're very good at. Everybody's had a mom who's good at it. And I'd like you to now to that person and give them the disapproving look your mom gave you. Oh wow, it's on silent house. Like, oh my God. You can do that. Guess what? So does the I had an instance the other week when one of my dogs was being a little bit, came out to be a little bit cheeky. And I just walked up and I just tapped him on the back of his shoulder. And as he looked at me, I just went, and he went, oh. See, there's things we can do. Which is better? You know, we talk about leaders, and there are leaders and leaders. Tony and I have actually had this conversation many times, and let's throw a few leaders' names at you and see if you'd like to have a lesson on how to get the best out of people, yeah? How to make a group of people work together. There's a lesson from Saddam Hussein. Yeah, you'd think he'd be the right sort of guy to teach you how to get the best one. Who would have liked Saddam Hussein to be their leader? No takers. But he was a leader, yeah? Gotta admit, he was a leader. Okay, how many people would be okay to follow and take lessons on working with people from Jesus? Adolf Hitler and his takers. Gandhi. And Gandhi said, the greatness of a nation and its moral progress is judged in the way that its animals are treated. Now, come on, you like us, we like to think we're very civilized and a progressive nation, leaders of the world. I mean, I know in particular in this country, that's what you like to think, but hey, your moral progress is judged in the way your animals are treated. Just look at what we do. It's a long way to go. So there are leaders and leaders, and with my animals I'd rather be a Gandhi. Jesus. Remember, when the bullies, and the bullies do have their time, when the bullies are gone, their work goes with them. But when the true leaders go, their work continues. Because of those that want to take it on and embrace it. Am I making sense here? Yeah. Am I actually making sense? I thought I was. You guys, you live with nature. So what I'm going to ask you to do now is work with the dog's nature. So, how many people actually have a dog that is a fussy eater? Yeah. Oh, no, every audience we have that. Now, I've never seen the wolves go, not elk again.